Stas, hello, how's it going? I'm super excited to talk to you. Just want to share what's going on with you, share some of my experience, how I feel right now, what I'm going through right now, especially in these, let's say, different times, challenging times, and just want to check on you.
Thank you, Felix. I appreciate it, and I'm excited to chat with you as well. You're right. There's a lot going on right now in the world, and sometimes it's very difficult to find the grounding with so much negativity in the news sometimes. And actually, right now, the news is starting to become a little bit more positive. I just opened up an article about psychedelics and anxiety. So it's nice to see some diversity in the news. But you're right. This is a very challenging time for a lot of people, and it's important to find ways to ground yourself, to create a mindset of positivity, because what we look for, we attract. So it's important to look for correct things. Otherwise, we may get stuck in a negative loop of events.
That is very true. And I have a feeling that especially right now when we're all isolated, quarantined all over the world, we can do just so much working out physically. But I think even right now, it's even more important to also work on your mind. Let's say, work on your mental health, especially in these times, especially if you're maybe living on your own right now, being quarantined.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Because the mind is going nuts. There's so much energy. Usually we have a lot of opportunities to discharge that energy. We go to the gym, or we go swim in the ocean. We go for a hike with the dog. We interact with friends. There's a lot of ways for us to discharge that energy. But now a lot of people are at home. Many of us are not able to leave. And so what's happening is that all of this energy goes into worrying. You worry more and more, anxiety, it can spiral down to depression or just negativity. And it's important and that's why we see a lot of domestic abuse right now as well, is because this energy is pent up here, and then it just needs to discharge. And a lot of times it just manifests into arguments, or if you're by yourself, in all kinds of anxiety and depression. So it's important to develop different practices and rituals in order to discharge it, on daily basis.
right. So for somebody like me who had to really figure out what kind of habits to develop, what kind of new habits to develop in this time. It was interesting to see, and especially you always say something. So some might say you have to develop new habits, but it's actually easier said than done. I had the feeling because for me, habits have so much to do with the environment you live in. So if you've been stuck, or if you've been living in the same environment day after day, month after month, year after year, it is super hard to develop new habits. So that is why habits is super closely tied to your environment. And as we are right now, this is new environment for all of us. So this is in my case, it's a new environment for me. I'm living completely on my own. I don't see anybody. And it's also an opportunity for me. I've felt an opportunity for me to develop new habits, just because this new environment I'm temporarily living in right now. So I took it more as an opportunity to develop those new habits. So what are kind
That's
of
a
new?
great.
Yeah, I'm
Go
just
ahead.
curious. What kind of new habits maybe you develop, or what you got into in the last couple of? Okay, how long is it going on already? Like month or two?
Yeah, I think it's, for me, it's week 7 or so, maybe week 8. But yeah, it's a great time to actually go within and to discover yourself a lot more, because there's very few distractions now. Again, before, you can distract yourself by, you're feeling a little bit lonely, or you're feeling a little bit down, you can go hang out with your friends, or you can go to the movies, you can go to a bar and have a drink, and kind of just distract yourself with whatever's going on inside. Now, being at home, facing everything that you've been pushing away this entire time, now it's all coming together. So it may seem overwhelming, but also, I invite you to look at it from a perspective of, I can finally face all the stuff that I was pushing away, and I can deal with it now. You know, it doesn't need to chase me the entire time. I can actually face it and realize, you know what, this feeling of loneliness that maybe I've been having once in a while, it's actually not so bad. You know, just kind of welcome this feeling, see where it sits in your body, you know, and breathe through it. Maybe it's in the chest, and just kind of let it, you know, let it be there. Like, don't judge it, don't try to push it away. Just let that feeling be there, and just sit with it and breathe. And most of the times it will just go away, and you will feel like, you know what, I actually don't feel so lonely anymore. And so it's a practice number one for everyone to connect with your feelings, because our emotional body, it actually, it has all of that, you know, anxiety, depression, loneliness, all of these feelings, it's all in our emotional body. And it's okay to face it and to realize it's not bad. It may come back once in a while, but once you realize, okay, you know what, all I have to do is just sit here, connect with it, and breathe through it, and I'll be fine. So that's number one, is to not run away from overwhelming feelings that come up on surface once in a while. You know, and about the habits that you mentioned, that's you know, with every habit, I think what I found out in my personal experience, and everything that I share, it comes from personal experience. Because if you read something in the book, a strategy that worked for somebody, it worked for that person. And the way it worked is because they applied it, so they share their experience. So it's always helpful to share your own experience, because you know all the stages of this methodology or modality. You know, and so with habits, for me, what worked is figuring out the why. Why am I trying to have this habit in the first place? Is it because that dude told me that, you know, it worked for him, and so I'm, you know, trying to give it a shot? Or it's because everybody keeps talking about cold showers, or, you know, people talk about breath work, so I'm trying to establish this habit? To figure out for you, and not just there's a whole journey of habit, right? So for example, I want to get in a habit of running every day, or doing push-ups every day. Now, the short-term vision of this habit is because I want to have a nice body, but it, you know, go beyond there, right? Like, I want to have a nice body. Why? You know, like, maybe I want to be athletic so I can actually compete in Spartan races. Maybe I want to have a great stamina, great cardio for, you know, for when I go on longer hikes. Or maybe I actually want to go climb Mount Everest. Or maybe I want to have that six pack, you know, just because I always wanted it, and I want to put the check mark that I got it, you know. So just push as far as you can, as deep as you can, as to for your why you want this habit to come through. Because when the challenging time will come, and you'll wake up one day and you'll be like, I don't want to do it today, you'll remember your why, your real why, and then you'll follow through. So that's, I would say, that's the most important when it comes to establishing a habit.
That is a very good point you just mentioned, especially for being sustainable in the long run. Because these circumstances, these environments, they will change, and we'll go back. I'm not going to say to our normal life or to what it was, because it will be different. That I'm pretty sure of. But there will be this daily life again, where we might have some excuses why we can't pursue our habits that we had during quarantine anymore. You know, and what I found for me is, I started, let's say in January. I started in January with meditating, daily meditations from like 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. But the why behind it was a really good point you mentioned, because for me it was in the beginning more of, I'm developing a new habit for the sake of developing a new habit. I didn't really have the why behind it. So even though I meditated each day, and I still do, I did it more for myself, as in, I have to check something off my daily list. You know what I mean? So it was more of, okay, my alarm is going off. I'm making my bed. I take a shower. Now I'm meditating. Okay, I got this off my list. I have this sense of accomplishment. Yet it wasn't really connected to the bigger picture. I didn't really zoom out and see and realize why I actually do it, until maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks in, where I really felt that it actually had made an impact. An impact in terms of I actually started meditating in the morning, but I felt that for me personally, and everybody is different, of course. I had a much more it had a bigger impact for me when I did it just before going to sleep, because it really calmed me down. All those thoughts I had during the day, I could just zoom out, take a look on my views, actually, on my beliefs, on my thoughts, and somehow just see pass them by and go to this like calmer state of mind where I don't have all those feelings, those thoughts before going to sleep, and actually can sleep. So it was really a way for me to call it a day, call it a night, at the end of the day. And this is really something where you have to stick with, I felt, because it's very easy to just give it up after 2 or 3 weeks, because it's still this just checking off your list thing. But once you figured out this why, and once you see how it can actually help you, and it can be pragmatic, then that's this trigger, this shift, what really made a change.
Absolutely. And there's the different aspect to this why also, and it's funny because I feel like I mentioned exactly the same words in one of my recent podcasts. I said the same thing, that I used to do this for the check mark. And then until I realized this whole check mark approach was not working. It wasn't real. It was like an artificial way of trying to do something good for yourself, but deep inside, that's like you're not really doing it in an authentic way. And so what I came down to, which actually a slogan of my Think Clever podcast, it says, live with intention. And so everything that I do now, I try to look at it through this lens of intention. What is my intention behind this action? And it's very closely connected to the why, right? So again, like, what is my intention with meditation? Am I doing this because everybody says I should be doing this? What am I trying to get from meditation? And for a very, very long time, I meditated for the check mark. I did gratitude journaling for the check mark, just to say that I've done it. And then I realized, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Me meditating every day, but sitting there and thinking about what I'm going to do next, and the emails I need to respond, this is it's bullshit. It's not like a authentic meditation, right? And then I realized, okay, I'm really going to give it a shot. I'm really going to sit there and not expecting anything, because that's not the point of meditation. The point is not to not have any thoughts. The point is to disengage from the thought process. If you have a thought, observe it. Okay, I'm having a thought, I'm thinking about this cookie, that's great, but I am observing myself, that I'm having this thought, and now let's let it go and focus again on silence or on a mantra. So reading mantra, repeating mantra once in a while during the meditation, it helps to clear the mind. So as long as you're in this process, you're observing, then it's okay that the thoughts come. That's not the point, to have a very thoughtless mind. That's never going to happen.
Just to sorry to interrupt you real quick, but what is because I had to learn it myself and actually look it up. So what is a mantra when you say just look at and saying the mantra again? What is a mantra?
So a mantra is, it could be a word, or it could be, a collection of multiple words, but it's a sacred sound. It's, it could be made of, like, for example, Om. You can repeat Om, or you can repeat Ram. So different words, sacred sounds that they also have a lot of meaning, in them. And so you can just repeat one word over and over, or you can repeat a collection of a few words. I know that we just completed 21-day abundance challenge, and Deepak Chopra in the meditations, he says, please repeat the mantra. And so we have, you have, and I have, we have few words that we can repeat once in a while during the meditation, which is very helpful. By the way, I want to apologize for my connection because I'm in Portugal in the forest, and this is the best Wi-Fi I could get. Hopefully, the stuff that we're discussing here is still being preserved.
That's totally fine. I bet that most people are not even interested that much in seeing our faces, but more in the in the content we share. So it's all good, you know.
So should I just take off my shirt and just go tank top?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just dressed a little up here for this, but as you know, I'm wearing my shorts, you know, it's all fine. But it's very interesting, and I actually want to go back to this point where you said about being overwhelmed in quarantine, being overwhelmed by the circumstances, or that you said, hey, domestic violence is increasing because we're just so overwhelmed and we're not used to living so either so close to each other, if you're living with your significant other or with your children, every day 24/7, or just by your own and by your own with your own thoughts. But I see it from two different angles, and I'm curious what your take is on that. So the one view is that, hey, this quarantine, like this one side is saying this quarantine gives you so much more time, and it gives you this opportunity to do something new, you know, like we sometimes find ourselves saying, oh man, if I would have only have 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to do this and that, I would be changing the world. I would do this and that. Now we actually have the time, or maybe we don't have the time. It's because it's interesting to see, because at the end of the day, the day still has only 24 hours, you know, and we still have to work, even though we're working from home. We still have to eat. We still have to sleep. So even though it seems we have so much more time, somehow we don't. And I really don't want to. And I've seen it a lot through social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or you name it, that you see another challenge. You see another challenge of doing this. You see another challenge of making banana bread. You see another challenge of what books have you read, how many push-ups you've done. But I just want to say it's totally fine to also not change during this. It's not a requirement to change and to go out of quarantine, to come out of quarantine and be a completely new. Nobody is going to blame you for that, even though sometimes it seems social media is pressuring you, forcing you to do something. You have to be creative, you have to do this and that, you know, and you have to play the guitar, you have to learn this. No, you know, you don't have to write a novel coming out of this. It's totally fine. But then again, the other side is, hey, actually somehow we have this time, this new times right now, where we are more at home and on ourselves, so we can actually test out something new. So I just wanted to see what your take is on that, and what's the balance is always a strong word, but what is maybe the right balance, or yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's there's always two sides of the coin to this, right? And because there's two types of people, right? There's some people who are stuck at home and they're in a melancholic state, and they don't really, they need the motivation to get fired up and actually go do something, right? There's other people who are overwhelmed, you know, with stuff. There's so much stuff going on for them that they actually need rest, right? So you can't just take one advice and apply it to absolutely everyone. And that's why we get in situations like, you know, comparing yourself to others. You know, there's people who are already doing enough stuff in their life, and they actually need this quarantine to just rest and do nothing. You know, just go for walks, lay in the garden all day, you know, just do stuff that you normally cannot afford to do, like relax and don't do anything, right? So if those people pick up the phone and they go on Facebook and Instagram and they say like, oh, new challenge, you know, transform yourself in 60 days, write a novel, right? Like they are already doing plenty of stuff, you know, so they need to just shut that phone and just go disconnect, you know? So for those people, the advice is do nothing. You know, please do nothing, you know. But then for others that are like they have all this energy and they're just like, I don't know what to do. I feel so frustrated. I just keep eating all day, opening my fridge, and I'm, was on the Zoom call with my friends talking about nothing all day, then yeah, like pick up a new language, pick up, like learn how to play guitar. So there's always two sides to the situation. So that's why it's important to check in with yourself. Nobody knows you better than you do. If somewhere deep inside there, that you could be doing more, that you could be more of service, that you could get out of your comfort zone and do stuff, then go ahead and do it. But if deep inside, what? I have been busting my ass and working so hard, and there is nothing wrong with just doing nothing for a few weeks. Not trying to write a novel, not trying to learn to play guitar, just hang out, just stare at the sky, at the stars, or out in nature, or at the wall, whatever is next to you. Just listen to yourself. That's the advice.
Yeah, that's totally true. And I really think some might think being bored is really or is considered bad, but if you have the luxury of being bored, then you really have to embrace it. Being bored is actually a good thing. I have the feeling, because being bored.
Well, having time is a good thing. Being bored is not when you don't know what to do with that time. That's like, it's kind of like a torturous state, because you're walking around, you're thinking, something is off. Like I need to, but I don't know what, right? And that's that feeling of boredom where you have no fire ignited within, because you're not applying anything, right? So having free time, that's awesome. You have free time, you can, because let's say sitting out in nature and just looking out at the horizon for 2 hours can be considered boring, but it's actually one of the best spiritual practices, just gazing. So to somebody it may seem like, man, this guy's so bored, he's just been staring in the same spot for 2 hours now, but to you may have understood yourself in ways you've never looked upon yourself like that, so that was the best practice to you. So very, very tricky word game, but again, coming back to inside, how do you feel inside? Do you feel like you're wasting time just doing stuff that doesn't matter? Or do you feel like, right now I need nothing. Right now I want to appreciate myself doing nothing. For example, I want to share a personal example that I've been working on a couple of weeks ago. It's been pointed out to me by one of my teachers, is that I tend to do things, trying to accomplish things, because they're connected to my self-worth and my value. So I feel valuable and worthy of things, like love and success, when I accomplish certain tasks in a day. So the challenge from my teacher was, well, I want you to do absolutely nothing throughout the day and still connect with that feeling of worthiness, that you're valuable just as you are, without accomplishing any to-do list, nothing. And that, to me, that was my challenge. Because that's the true self-worth. Like you're not supposed to, it's not supposed to be conditional.
That is very true. And I've also figured, I've read so much. I got super interested in the mindfulness topic and the conscious topic, especially in times like this right now, training your mind, everything around also mental health. I mean, there is so much just say out there about. You have great YouTube videos, you have TED Talks, you have amazing articles written by other amazing people, but like my watch list or reading list just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's like this never ending list where at one point I thought to myself, you really have to, as much as you have to know where you say yes to, you really have to know where you say no to, especially in times like this. Bingo. Because this is then otherwise this this thing where it comes back to you and where it's just overwhelming you, even though you're trying to help you, but you're like indirectly overwhelming yourself. So it's really important to also to know, okay, I'm not doing this right now. Put this aside. Maybe I'm not even doing this at all, and this is totally fine, you know. So in the end, it's an act of balance, but everybody has to figure it out for themselves. But sometimes you need just this little nudge that, you know, it's fine. I'm not doing this right now. I've done so much up to this point, and now I'm good.
Yeah. You know yourself the best, and just be truthful with yourself. And if you have this feel of guilt, go back to that exercise at the beginning. Okay, I feel guilty. Okay, let's sit with it, and that's it. And it will either go away, or you will get up and actually do something about it.
No, that's totally true. And one last thing I wanted to share. I also wanted to be respectful with your time, because I know you're in Portugal, and it's almost 7, I think, or almost dinner time.
Almost pizza time.
Almost pizza time. That's
but
great,
healthy pizza.
Healthy pizza. It's fine. Even if it's not a healthy pizza, just go with it. If you feel like having,
we're making it from scratch, so I'm acquiring a new skill of how to make a dough, how to put all the ingredients and put it together. So it's art. I'm basically participating in art right now.
Yeah, that's craftsmanship at its finest, and I'm waiting for the recipe to be uploaded on Instagram, you know, and all that. But what I wanted to say is, also, my habit was, or what I developed and also find very interesting, is that I started writing down my dreams. And this, what was really interesting about it, that the day I started writing down my dreams, or going in like day 5 or 6, this article popped up that people right now have very strong, very intense dreams during quarantine. It has been actually by the Center of I forgot the name of dreams and mental health here in the US. They've gotten so many calls about people having those weird dreams, some isolated dreams of anxiety, and for me, I never had that big of a problem with nightmares, but just writing down your dreams each day, just after you woke up, let's say within the first 5 to 6 minutes, because otherwise I just have completely forgotten it. It really it trains your mind, it trains your memory, to first of all. But again, if you connect to your subconscious, if you connect to your subconscious and actually tell it, hey, I'm listening, it also calms you down. So it releases this pressure, up to the point where I'm not at yet, but to the point of lucid dreaming, where it's like that you're aware that you dream when you dream. I haven't reached this level yet, but this was just something for me personally I wanted to share, which is super interesting. I know it goes a little bit in the direction of Inception, amazing movie, but there's some truth to it. There's there's some truth to it. But it's been just super interesting for me, and somehow being self-aware.
That's a fascinating topic. We could probably do another podcast just on dreaming and then dreams in general.
Yeah,
I definitely explored that avenue many times, and what I would say right now is, your body communicates with you through your dreams. When we're asleep, nervous system, that's when we are doing all of our recuperation, rejuvenation, and to keep it light, keeping a journal is great, to track it, right? But then also there's a couple things that you can do. Let's say if you're having not so pleasant dreams, then maybe before going to bed, it's very important to do a digital detox a few hours before going to bed. Because if you're overstimulating yourself, let's say it was then it blocks your pineal gland from releasing melatonin. actually going into the deep sleep, and then therefore you break certain cycles. Doing a digital detox, obviously avoiding all the negative media and all kinds of stuff like that as well. Take an Epsom salt bath. So, essential oils, so many different things that you can do in order to calm yourself down. And then you can reduce the unpleasant dreams. Obviously, the pleasant ones, it's great to connect yourself, see what's happening there, and journal and keep exploring. And also, one last thing, to set up an intention before you go to bed. So you can maybe connect with your higher self or whatever you feel comfortable with, and ask for great guidance in this dream state to learn what you need to learn. So you're not just going for the ride, you're actually participating in this great adventure.
Great. Yes, it is absolutely right. And I think that was a really good ending point, really valuable concluding point. And thank you so much for your time. That was super interesting, and super insightful for me. Hopefully to everybody who's listening too. Enjoy your pizza, and I'm looking forward to talking to you soon, buddy.
Until next time.
See ya. Bye.